Hi Libra and Libra rising, this is your February 2017 forecast. So February is said to be a somewhat challenging month, and this because we've got two eclipses happening. On the 11th of February we've got a full moon lunar eclipse happening in your 11th house in Leo, and on the 26th of February we've got a new moon solar eclipse happening in your 6th house in Pisces. So eclipses often carry the signatures of change, events that can precipitate to an extent where they necessitate a course direction or change, and change can be either upsetting or liberating even for the most hardened amongst us. And Libra is a sign that likes certain predictability, comfort and security, so eclipses can challenge that serenity just a little bit. But other than that, there's some really positive things happening for you this month, so let's look at those. We've got the sun in your 5th house, and the 5th house is the house of love, friendship, pleasure. It's also the house of personal business and creative projects and children. So with the sun in the 5th house, the emphasis tends to be on expressing yourself, on having a good time. You're more able to express yourself and articulate yourself, particularly with Mercury joining the sun in your 5th house. So it's all about playfulness and fun. It's the house of love, as I said, so this is a very good placement for romances. One's more inclined to be spontaneous, take risks, and this can extend to financial gambles. And for personal business, the sun here helps focus those energies on those passion projects of yours. We've also got Venus and Mars in your 7th house, which is the best placement for chemistry and for sizzling kind of sparks in all types of relationships. So Venus in the 7th is really amicable, it makes you amenable to other people. It's the best position for relationships really, whether it's partners in business or partners in love. And even for enemies, Venus in the 7th can be very good for making peace with those open enemies. So with Venus in the 7th, you're able to express emotion easily, you're able to make your feelings known, so you're able to articulate your feelings to others, tell others how you feel. And professionally, it also a favorable influence because it helps you work very well with others and make yourself amenable. Now, Mars in the 7th can be a little bit more acrimonious. This is because this is the house of partnerships. And Mars is very ego-driven and combative. So Mars in the 7th can, make one clash, with other people, be argumentative, be defiant. But with Venus here, this is really going to mitigate it. So it's much more likely to transpire into love and chemistry and sparks and fire. So for those of you who are single, this could really be the buzz, especially with the sun in your 5th house, fanning that kind of romantic drive, making you more inspired to take risks and sort of love gambles. So lots of chemistry happening this month. So from the 19th of February, the sun is moving into your 6th house, and this is a bit of a different flavor to the 5th, where the 5th is all about recreation, fun, pleasure, and expressing yourself and having the best time possible, really, and making opportunities for that. The 6th house is the house of duties and responsibilities, work. So here the focus tends to be on what needs to be done. It's about organization, efficiency. It's the house of health as well, so this can make you more interested and orientated with health concerns, particularly when Mercury joins the sun here from the 26th of February onwards. So Mercury, once it's in the 6th house, the focus is more on mental work, careful planning. It's very detail orientated. It helps you articulate yourself well to bosses, co-workers, employers and employees. So a very good position for that. But prior to Mercury moving into the 6th house, which is only from the 26th of February onwards, Mercury is going to be in your 5th house for most of the month with the sun. So Mercury in the 5th is really great for expressing, again, your feelings, so feelings of love, feelings of friendship, and for using your mind for creative amusement, entertainment, mental stimulation. So you're more inclined to do things for fun, some mental activities for fun, so games, reading, any kinds of activities which stimulate the noggin. So you may also find you're more inclined to play pranks at this time. Okay, so let's look at the aspects this month. On the 2nd of February, we've got Mercury squaring Jupiter between your 4th and your 5th houses. And this can be a very optimistic placement. It's a difficult aspect, but Mercury and Jupiter can work well together, if you're sensible and detail orientated. So this placement can be good for long range plans, for big picture thinking, for business and commerce, provided you take the time to examine all the details and think and plan carefully. And for you, because Jupiter's in your first house and Mercury's in your fourth, this could be about home, property, those kinds of concerns, also private concerns. So some of you, this could be buying or selling property. From the 28th of January, running for the first 2 weeks of the month, we've got a new moon in the 5th house. So that new moon has the sun and the moon in your 5th house, and it's an active period or phase where you focus your energy into creative projects, creative self-expression, romantic impulses, flirtation, entertainment. So this is good for passion and fun and creative works, and it can also be good for, speculative risks, because the 5th house is also the house of those kinds of gambles. So you're inclined to be bolder, it favors personal business projects, and self-expression highly, kind of keyed during this transit. So the first 2 weeks of the month really focusing on that house of pleasure, fun and spontaneity, and very good for romance, of course. So on the 10th, we've got Mercury sextiling Venus between your 5th and your 7th house. And this is very good for declarations of love, with Mercury in your 5th house, which is the house of pleasure, and Venus helping you be more amenable, sociable, graceful, and express yourself. So words of love, feelings of love, declarations of love, doing pleasant things with loved ones, or having pleasant conversations with loved ones with this particular aspect. So on the 11th of February, we've got the full moon lunar eclipse, and it's happening in your 11th house. So all full moons highlight relationships, emotions, or come to the fore. And with full moons, there's that kind of culminating energy. So this is a very good placement to purge yourself of emotional baggage, particularly of the previous 6 months, and to evaluate all relationships. You may be called upon to give a friend assistance, or, so a friend might lean upon you at this time. But there are very favorable aspects with this full moon lunar eclipse between Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. So with the Sun opposing the Moon and Jupiter opposing Uranus, the sextiles and trines between Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus and the luminaries really help, resolve issues. So pull things together, resolve conflicts. So the tension comes from Jupiter opposing Uranus in the form of, your desire for personal freedom can get in the way of personal relationships or issues, so that's something to look at. But Saturn is providing a very stabilizing view, so long-range plans, and for you this could be around study and ways that you present yourself. And the favorable aspects with Jupiter always help for any kinds of study, travel, or learning plans, and sociability and good fortune generally. And of course, this eclipse is in the house of good fortune, dreams, hopes, and wishes. So this can really be, refining those hopes, goals, dreams, and desires, and, using your social networks to advance them. Emotions can be a little bit heated during an eclipse, so just be aware of that. But otherwise, a very positive energy happening. And the effects of eclipses can always take a little bit longer to pan out. So over the next 6 months, actually, these energies can settle. So on the 14th, we've got the Sun sextiling Saturn between your 5th and your 3rd house. And this is a more sober aspect. These two planets together help for cultivating strong instincts. They make you more practical, more resourceful. And you're also thinking in a more sober, critical way. So it's not the kind of pie in the sky that one can sometimes see with Jupiter. It's a serious, stabilizing influence that helps you tackle serious and stabilizing matters and matters of security. So on the 16th, we've got Mercury sextiling Mars between your 5th and your 3rd houses. So this is very good for mental and physical busyness. So this can be around creative projects or personal business projects or interactions with loved ones. This one wants you to take the initiative, to take charge, to showcase your inspiration, your expertise in some ways. It also helps you stand firm on your views. So if you're being challenged, you can stand your ground. But with this one, you also want to make use of opportunities that come your way, because they're more likely to at this time. On the 20th, we've got Mercury sextiling Uranus between your 5th and your 7th house. So this can be good for using your mind to tackle new problems, or problems that you couldn't resolve in the past that require a fresh perspective, a novel approach. This can also show doing something different with a lover or partner. So, you can also have that creative approach to partnerships and issues in partnerships, and use this energy to resolve them. On the 21st, we've got Mercury trining Jupiter between your 5th and your 1st house. And this is very good for all kinds of business, commercial deals and transactions. And this is the house of personal business projects and creative projects is involved here. So this could be also a speculative risk or venture or gamble, because all kinds of business or commercial deals are favored. Okay, but these two planets together do help you with big picture thinking, long range planning, and so personal business, passion projects, and speculative investments really favored with this transit. On the 22nd, we've got a difficult aspect between Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto are in square. And this one can really bring up power struggles, disagreements, acrimony, so lots of tension because of all the ego energies in the air. So this energy can really result in conflicts with groups, with authority figures, and for you, in the house of partnerships and family, this could be with family members, parents, or close business partners or significant others. So business or romantic partners could see, you could see a lot of tension with this one. So you'll want to lay a little bit low and take it easy if you can. On the 23rd, we've got Mercury sextiling Saturn. And this is also a good aspect for critical, serious thinking, for detailed work, for precision, things that need more concentration and focus. So not so good for creative work, but for serious, meticulous work. So this is what this aspect favors. So on the 26th of February, we've got the new Moon Solar Eclipse happening in your 6th house. And the main aspect is with Neptune. But at the same time, during the eclipse, Mars and Uranus are conjunct in your 7th house, and this can be causing some tension in the sphere of personal relationships yet again. Mars and Uranus, together can really, more than any other aspect, show things happening suddenly, unexpectedly, or someone behaving rashly and without too much forethought, and make people more accident prone, so you'll want to watch out for that. And in the 6th house, the conjunction between the Sun, Moon, and Neptune is very good for any kinds of feelings of empathy, nurture, compassion, higher thinking. It really stimulates idealism. So for you, this could be around work projects, creative projects. Neptune also favors creative projects. So you may find that over the next 6 months, there's more of an opportunity for you to use your creativity in your work. So the month concludes with Mars opposing Jupiter between your 7th and your 1st house. And Mars is still conjunct Uranus at this time. So because of the, Jupiter can often conflate or exaggerate issues. So there's a tendency to go over the top, to go too far, to overcommit, or, you want to watch that exaggeration. So with Mars and Jupiter, this can be a lucky transit, or, you can find yourself taking foolish risks and extending yourself too far. So for you, this is going to be around partnerships and personal identity issues. So partnerships could be under the sway of this influence. So you'll just want to rein it in a little bit. It can be a very productive, lucky transit because of the high energies, but because Mars is conjunct Uranus, things can happen in a little bit more of a haphazard fashion. So just be a little bit careful of that. If you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe, and thanks so much for listening.